All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this honors program webinar. It is great to have you here. We're going to give everyone a moment just to come in, settle, make sure you have a drink or whatever else you'd like nearby, because we're going to have some great information for you during the session and also hear from some of our wonderful honors program students. My name is Adriana. I use she, her pronouns. I work in the admission office and I oversee sort of the admission portion of the honors program application process. I work with Jon, who you'll hear from in a moment.
Thanks so much, Adriana, and thank you all for being here. My name is Jon Honea, and I'm the director of the honors program. I'll show this QR code at the end of the presentation in case you want to go back to it or don't have a chance right now. But this is a copy of our of last year's newsletter. And you may already have a copy of that, I'm not sure, but it's there if you would like to take a look at some of the things that we were doing last year in the program, some of the accomplishments of students, some of the accomplishments of faculty, and so on. So I'd like to start with an overview of every student's time at Emerson. So let's say that you got admitted and you start next fall. You would be going, most of you would be going for 4 years, so for 8 semesters. And each semester at Emerson, students normally take 16 credits. And because most classes are 4 credits, that means about 4 classes. Now, where does the honors program fit into that? You definitely have space for lots of other opportunities to take classes. Of course, your major, but also minors and electives. So of the 32 classes you'll be taking at Emerson, only 8 are for the honors program, are required for the honors program. And of those 8, 6 of those count for general graduation requirements. So it means that you would be taking classes on those topics anyway. Even if you weren't in the honors program. So if you are in the honors program, you get to take wonderful classes that are targeted to honors students. They're small, they have faculty who have taught in the program for a number of years. Most of the classes are seminar style, they're discussions, and there are only 2 additional classes that other students aren't required to take, and those are both associated with doing your honors thesis during the end of your time at Emerson College. So so I'll leave it at that. So the first year, the 3 courses you'll be taking for the honors program are HS 101, 102, and 103. They all count for, or they all cover requirements that every student at Emerson College has to take. HS 101 and 102 are both interdisciplinary classes covering literature and the culture of the Americas. And then 103 is a writing symposium where you write a short thesis. Well, it may not be short to you, but it's short for most honors students. It's about 20 to 30 pages. But you spend the whole semester focused on developing your idea and drafting that paper and completing it. So these courses are team taught. There are 2 faculty for each of those courses. And they're small, like I said, between sometimes 15 up to 18 students. And you stay with the same students throughout all of those courses in your first year, the same group of 15 to 18 students. So you develop quite a community in your first year among the other honors students in your cohort. And I mentioned that they cover 3 requirements that you'd have to take anyway, even if you weren't an honors student. So it's the literary perspective, the U.S. diversity requirement, and the written communication requirement. During your second year, so this shows the year after that, there are only 2 required honors courses. They are the science course in 201 and then the philosophy course in 202. And both of those are interdisciplinary courses, focus on engaging in critical thinking and especially research. So you start really digging into research that first year, especially in your writing classes, you're developing that thesis. And then we continue that theme in your second year to build up your expertise in doing research to prepare you for writing your thesis later. So there's a unifying theme across both of these classes. It's a new one. So our current honor students who are here, Natalie Shallow and Owen Mitchell, thank you guys for being here. They're not familiar with this. It's the new theme is being human in a changing world. So both of these courses engage that theme. Sometimes the professors of one course will be guest lecturing in the other course, and they both engage that same theme from different disciplinary perspectives. Those two also, both of those courses also fulfill requirements, as you would guess, the scientific perspective and then the ethics and values perspective in the philosophy class. So we were just looking at this second year. So all of the remaining classes are shown in this slide. In your third year, you may decide to take this interdisciplinary course. So I've got IN3XX, and I have those X's in there just because there are somewhere between 6 and a dozen usually offered every semester. So there's a huge number of those to choose from. And they go from anywhere from Africana thought to feminist thought to what are some other ones, to the history of some particular country or ideology. And these are also frequently taught by honors professors. These courses are actually open to all Emerson students. So you'll be taking that class probably with some, not just honors students, but other students as well. And another thing about that course, do I have that here? Yeah, it fulfills your interdisciplinary perspective. So you'd be having to take a similar course anyway, even if you're not in the honors program. And another thing about that is that you don't have to take it in any particular term. You just have to, you can take it any term. It's not specifically for the fall of your third year. All right, and then the two final classes for the honors program that I mentioned are HS 390 and HS 490. In 390, you develop an idea for your honors thesis, and you write a proposal, you do some research and make an annotated bibliography and do a literature review, and then you talk with your advisors to clarify your thinking and prepare you for the second course, 490, where you actually develop your thesis. You'll write drafts, you'll workshop them with the other students in other honor students in your class, and then you'll complete that thesis, usually in your senior year. But I know some of you will come in with AP credits, so not all of you will go the full 4 years. And so you can take all of these last 3 classes really any semester of your time here at Emerson. The only catch is you need to take 390 before 490 because you have to develop your proposal and all of your research and ideas to be prepared to do 490 and complete your thesis. All right, and I know some of you have really been working overtime and you've completed a whole bunch of AP credits or maybe at a college nearby or something like that, and you're coming in with enough to graduate a whole year early. That's possible too. Similarly, you just take them before you plan to graduate, obviously. So it is possible to complete the honors program in just 3 years now. But most of you will do this. Most students don't come in with enough AP credits or college credits to be able to skip an entire year or even a whole semester. I know that's some of you, so that's why I wanted to mention it, though. All right, so I mentioned the honors thesis a few times. It's a 50 to 60 page research paper. Don't panic. You have a whole academic year to complete it. As I said, one whole semester is devoted just to developing your idea, a proposal, doing all of your research. And then you have a whole second, so that's what I was just saying. Then you have a whole second semester in 490 to actually develop this thesis. And I assure you, we have 25 students doing this every semester because it is possible to finish in the fall. Some of the students are doing that. And other students are finishing in the spring. We usually have about 25 finishing each of those semesters. So it happens. We provide lots of support for you to be able to accomplish this. And it really prepares you, I think, and many of the students think afterwards in the faculty for life after undergraduate, whether you're going into grad school to do similar research or you're planning to start your career immediately. So, and I mentioned this, so you're doing this independent research supported by faculty and perhaps a faculty advisor. If you want other advisors, will help you to arrange those. And you're workshopping them with other honors students. And you're providing feedback to those students who are in your class on their thesis ideas. I go in next. So just a few examples of thesis ideas. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but you will choose your own thesis topic. There's no required even theme. You can choose it on any topic in the world, and you'll see a huge range of ideas that students pursue as they follow their interests. Move some stuff around so I can see. All right, so this is just one example. Kira Venturini, who majored in nonprofit management and writing, graduated in 2019. Their thesis was Women and Girls in Athletics Post-Title IX. How can we stop them from leaving the field? And then the next one was Giorgio Leone, who was a media arts production major, graduating in May of 2020, who did his on The Punisher, Microcosm to Evoke the Macrocosm. And then Camila Arona, who was a political communication major who graduated last fall, did Reframing Latinidad, Legacies of Imperialism in Ethnic Labels of the Latin American Community. And then Ella Peevler, who majored in journalism, hers was Proud American Conspiracy Theorist, How QAnon Exposes the Need for Democratic Reform. Katerina Mondor graduated last fall as well, majoring in comedic arts. Hers was Playing the Field, How Sports Affect U.S. Politics and Presidential Campaigns. Sam Hull did his in media arts, or he majored in media arts production as well, and he had a really interesting thesis on movie trailer soundtracks, the auditory art of marketing movies. And every semester we select honors students, or the faculty select honors students to present before the Board of Trustees. And Sam presented his work, and the Board of Trustees actually had a few movie producers among them who were really interested in his work. Trinity Jackson was also an award-winning thesis recipient. Her major was in media arts production, and hers thesis title was A Failure in Boston, a Success in Charlotte. That's where she was from, so she was interested in that. A comparative analysis of busing's effectiveness. So you see these topics range from across the board and are often informed by a student's major. So, and so there's also opportunities to study abroad at Emerson College. And so we do that as well in the honors program. The most popular one, I think, is Emerson's campus that's in the Netherlands. We actually have a castle. I'm sure you've seen some promotional material about that. Students typically do that in their second year. You can do it either your fall or spring semester, but most students go in the fall semester where we have a dedicated honors science class there. But we have been working on getting a dedicated philosophy class there as well. And that is available if you decide to go to the castle in the spring. We often call it just the castle, the English translation. Owen has been to the castle, so he can tell you a little bit about experience there. And other study abroad opportunities, there's quite a few. We have a relationship with Franklin University in Zurich, Switzerland. They have a campus, or their main campus is actually in Lugano, and they have a satellite campus in Zurich where they have a really cool sustainability program. And we have a student doing that right now, an honor student doing that right now. And typically, if you go somewhere besides the castle, the sorts of classes that would be equivalent to, or the courses that you would take there would be equivalent to the interdisciplinary course. So you would be able to get some of your honors requirements out of the way if you did go to a different campus besides the castle. And there's lots of others besides these two. We also have a campus in Los Angeles. Lots of our students choose to go there in their very last semester because there's an internship that's required as you matriculate there. And lots of students, their thinking is that they hope the internship turns into a job and they might just stick around for the summer and maybe even longer. So they typically do that in the last semester of their time here at Emerson. And you'll notice that overlaps with completing your thesis. That's totally possible. We have the director of the academic program at Emerson, Los Angeles. He's essentially the provost there. He's also a longtime honors professor, and he can mentor students through their thesis, and he has been. That's what Natalie's doing right now, in fact. And what else was I going to say? A lot of students choose to take their honors thesis, complete their honors thesis in Boston before they go to Los Angeles so they can concentrate on their internship. There's lots of different ways to think about your education, and that's just one of them here at Emerson College. You can separate the thesis from your time in Los Angeles if you choose, or you can do them at the same time. So this, again, is the overview of the honors program at Emerson College. Of all the 32 courses you'll be taking at Emerson College, 8 of them are required for honors, and 6 of those count for other general graduation requirements. So courses, you'd have to take a course with a similar topic anyway. Only these 2, developing your honors thesis, are specifically for honors. So if you're interested in looking at these slides, Adriana mentioned that you'll have a recording of this. There's also, if you want to use one of the QR codes to access a copy of the slides, and then here's the QR code again for the newsletter that we sent out last year. So I think with that, I'd like to introduce again Natalie Shallow, who can tell you, can I stop sharing? Let me do this so we can do this. Yeah. So Natalie, why don't you tell the crowd a little bit about your experience in the program, and then we'll have Owen do the same.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie. I am currently, I guess I'm a first semester senior at Emerson, but I am graduating this fall. A little bit early. I'm in LA, as Jon mentioned. I am a media arts production major, so film. And yeah, I'm originally from Connecticut, studied in Boston. And yeah, I'm proud to be a member of the honors program. It's been really fun. If I had to sum it up, I would say your classes for your major or for interdisciplinary classes, you go there because you're really curious about a certain subject or topic, and you're there to learn more about that to, satisfy your curiosities. But with honors, you go in there and you take these classes about things you may have never heard about, and you become more curious. You start to think for yourself. You start to become more independent, more curious, and it really propels you forward. And in just like exploring new topics, and soon enough, you'll be doing your capstone like me, and you'll just have so many thoughts about all these different things in the world. And you get to pick one and write 65 pages on it. Right now, I'm writing about rock music and religion, and it's a lot more nuanced than that, but that's a quick summary. But yeah, I'm proud to be here. Love working on films and stuff. You can definitely do extracurriculars in your spare time at Emerson, even if you're an honors student. And right now, I'm interning at BMG, which is a music company here in Los Angeles. I'm big in, intertwining media with music. That's kind of my niche. And yeah, I'm hoping I can live out here. But yeah, that's why I'm graduating early, and I'm in Los Angeles.
One thing I'd like to add, Natalie's being modest. Every year we take a number of students, somewhere between 2, and this year we're doing 6, to the National Collegiate Honors Council annual meeting. And Natalie was one who went with us last year, who presented her work from her first year. She presented that thesis from the HS 103 class to honor students from all over the nation. And her work and Emerson College students in general work is really well received, because everyone else is presenting on some obscure physics issue, or it's super interesting stuff. But the topics that Emerson students generally choose are some of the range that I just showed you, or like Natalie just mentioned, religion and rock. But hers was specifically on attitudes unhealthy attitudes about working out among some gay men. And the audience just really appreciated something that they could relate to really well. And this year, we're taking 6 students to Chicago in November. So I'm hoping for us, and it's always a wonderful experience. So I just wanted to point that out, that we have those opportunities too. So thank you for that, Natalie. And Owen, why don't you share with us something about your time here in the Honors College, in the Honors program?
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Owen. I use the he, she, of pronouns, and I'm a junior, first semester junior here at Emerson. I have had a very positive experience with the honors program. To be completely honest, getting into the honors program was a big reason of why I came to Emerson in the first place. It was just like a really exciting opportunity that was like, oh, I really can't say no to such a cool opportunity like that. So 3 years later, and here I am. But my experience with the honors program, I have done quite a lot here at Emerson, and I think coming in as an honors student, something that I was nervous about was, is being in the honors program going to ever restrict me from doing X, Y, and Z? I wanted to, study abroad, and I wanted to have minors and all this other stuff. But I can say with complete confidence that like being in the honors program is not going to restrict you from doing anything else that you might want out of college, your college experience. Rather, being in the honors program is just going to like enhance it. So I've had a really fun time. I actually studied abroad. I think John might have mentioned this earlier. I studied abroad at the Castle, which, if you are not familiar with it, it is Emerson's most popular study abroad program. We own a castle in the countryside of the Netherlands. So that was a really cool opportunity, especially because I was not able to go in the fall, which is when traditionally the honors seminar class is. And so I was very worried that, I wouldn't be able to study abroad. But luckily, I was still able to go to the castle in the spring, even though there wasn't an official honors class. And I was still able to take a class and get my credit for that. So everyone who works in the honors program is super like accommodating of whatever might come up. Everyone just wants to see you succeed, so that's been really nice. And just like Natalie, I'm also planning on going to LA in next spring, so I'm very excited about that and the opportunity to do all of these incredible things that I wanted to do in college while still being in the honors program. Additionally, one thing for me that was really big was having minors. So I am a media arts production major as well, film major. And it might seem kind of intimidating coming in to Emerson in the honors program because you have all these classes you have to take. But despite all of my VMA classes and my honors classes, I'm also able to have not one, but 2 additional minors. So that was something that I just wanted to share, because if you're thinking of doing a minor and are wondering about how that would impact the honors program, like it definitely won't at all. Like I did not come into college with basically any credits from high school as well. So definitely everything that you could possibly want to do in college, you can certainly still do in the honors program. But yeah, one last thing I'll share is about my experience with the honors thesis, because I remember being very intimidated by that when I was a first year student. 50 pages does seem like a lot, but that first year you end up writing 25 pages. And so I wrote about the portrayal of gay men in film, because obviously like that is something I'm really interested in. And I found that to be a really good way to tie it into the work I was doing within my major. But taking honors classes, especially that first year, is a really great experience because you end up becoming so close with the people that are in your class too. You're basically with them for 3 classes, the same group of about 25 people for 3 classes throughout your freshman year. So you all get to know each other pretty well, and you have the same professors for both semesters. And it's been really fun to get that feedback on my own thesis and my own work, and also see everyone else's. For example, I have a really good friend in the honors program who is currently doing a thesis about the impacts of religion, of Christianity, and she's also a film major. So she is tied it into her BFA final film production. So her BFA and her honors thesis are kind of working hand in hand as one full project, which is really cool. I know someone else who I believe is directing a play as part of an honors thesis. So there's definitely like a lot of possibilities for what you can do. And it's a really 50 pages might seem like a lot or might seem like a lot of work, but I promise it's like really rewarding to get to dive into whatever niche interest or part of your major that you want to explore more. So yeah, that's basically been my experience. Highly recommend checking out Castile Well as well. But yeah.
Thanks so much, Owen. And I'd like to add to that. You mentioned that the third year or the first year of those three courses can seem like a lot of work. To help with that, we've actually established a new mentorship program. And I think, have you guys been involved with that? Where we have students who are in their third and fourth years mentoring first year students. So we've just set that up. And we're often recruiting the older students to help with the first year students. So we do have that. It seems like there was something else I wanted to mention. It'll come to me later on. But thank you very much, Owen.
All right, so we have some wonderful questions that are starting to come in. If you do have a question, please feel free to add that to the Q&A box at this point. Natalie and Owen, I'd love to start with you both. The question, as was asked, was actually about honors specific housing, which we do not have. You are not housed according to major or honors program or anything. What I would like you to talk about is how else then do honors program students create community? What is that centered around, and how does that kind of manifest over your 4 years in the program?
Well, first of all, you meet tons of people at Emerson, and they're all great. And being an honor student is especially important and special because you go to your classes and most of them, especially freshman year, are discussion based. So you're building community in that way, kind of getting a glimpse at everyone's personalities and the way they talk, the way they think about things. And just that alone can help you grow close connections. And something I wasn't afraid to do was just to talk to people after class. And I think Emerson is great because everyone's doing something and everyone wants to talk about their project, and then you want to be a part of it. And like by talking to people and like learning about what kind of film projects they have going on or what kind of writing they're doing, performances, you just build so many connections. And I know people who are film majors and friends with acting majors or creative writing majors or comedy majors. And there's just such a great community within the honors program because we're all just so like-minded in the sense that we are very curious and very open and very communicative. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, and just to build off that, as I was talking about a little bit, you are in class with the same group of people for at least 1 year, and then it ends up being more because there's only 50 people in the program. So every time you take an honors class, you kind of are running with the same crowd. So it's honestly like really hard to not build community because everyone's going through this really cool experience together and you're spending so much time with these people. I remember my freshman year, we have a group chat on iMessage, which is crazy because I've never once like had a class where every single person in the class all just like text each other. Because a lot of classes can be on the bigger side, but especially by the end of that first year, you will know everything about those kids in your class, in your honors classes, because everyone just gets really close. And as Natalie mentioned, it is discussion based, which is really nice because it's not like you're just sitting around listening to a lecture or something like that. Everyone is sharing their own experiences and their own inputs. And yeah, it's a really great way to build community just even in that first year by meeting people in your honors class.
John, did you have anything to add, or?
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. I did mention that new mentorship program. The two currently fourth year students, they started it in they brought the idea to me last year when they were in their third year, and then they basically created it over the summer, and now it's being implemented to support the first year students. Those two coordinators who set it up are actually working on other sorts of events to promote community. So more to come on that. That hasn't been finalized, but we do have honors lectures. We bring in lectures, esteemed academics or professionals in some other field from outside of Emerson to come speak to honors students. We try to do that once a semester, and we have that trip to the annual conference of the Honors Council. So we do try to have events like that. Oh, and one person related to that asked if there's, and I think you mentioned it, Adriana, that whether or not honor students have their own housing. We actually brought that to honor students several years ago, or the former director did. I started last year. So the former director brought that to the students, and the students voted that they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to be separate from the rest of the student body. And I really admire that attitude.
Perfect. There's a few questions that kind of go to the honors application and admission process. So I'm going to try and roll these all into kind of an overall conversation here. Let's talk for maybe a moment about the particulars of applying, because a few questions about that. So in order to apply for the honors program, there is an additional essay that you need to submit during the application process. So you can do this in a couple of different ways. You can do it as part of your common application. So there's a section where you would tick off a yes, I want to apply to honors button, and that brings up the honors prompt and a space to put it in on the writing supplements section of the common application. So where the other Emerson specific questions are, that's where you would be able to put in the honors essay. You do, however, have a little extra time beyond the normal deadline to submit it, though. So if you don't want to submit it with your common application because you want to take that extra time, it's 2 weeks after each application deadline, you can submit your common application, and then you'll get access to an Emerson-specific portal. You can upload your essay there, or if you're having any trouble, you can always email it to your admission counselor or admission@emerson.edu. There are a couple of questions, John, about that essay, particularly, how would we define what metaphor means in this context? Or I suppose, actually, let me read off the prompt for anyone who maybe hasn't seen it yet. So the prompt is to write about a metaphor that you think is powerful and explore its potential to be helpful and or harmful in your thinking. So John, what does metaphor cover for you in this context? And do you have any advice about the honors essay?
Yes, I have some strong feelings about it, as I'm sure you do too. So just to give you some context, Adriana is also a former honors student, and she's been in the admissions office after she graduated. She's been in admissions for a number of years, so she knows far more about admissions actually than I do about honors admissions. But having been through 300 to 400 honors essays last year myself, I know Adriana did more, I have some strong feelings. So metaphor. So I saw one person ask before, like, what do we mean by a metaphor? A few people actually did similes. I don't care. That's fine with me. What we're really looking for is, can you communicate complex ideas clearly? And the more original it is, the better. And please, for goodness sake, do not do a common metaphor. I mean, you're doing yourself a huge disfavor if you don't stand out. And I will tell you, like, more than 100 students did All the World's a Stage, and probably almost as many did I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So
I
for
will
your, I mean,
say,
those are wonderful metaphors. Pardon?
yeah, for scientific purposes, at one point I Googled the phrase like, what are the common metaphors or what are popular metaphors. Um, I would suggest not doing anything in that like top
Yes.
10 list, because we
Yeah.
see it a lot. So
Specifically,
do something
do
of
that
more
same
import to you.
exercise. Yeah, I encourage you to do that same exercise that Adriana just described. So Google most common and avoid every single one of those. I mean, just choose some metaphor from a recent book that you've read. And books are filled with metaphors. Our everyday conversation is filled with metaphors. Tell us about a metaphor that your parents often spring on you, or your grandparents, or some teacher in school. There's metaphors surrounding us every day, and just develop one that, in such a way that tells us about you, what you care about, and how clearly you can communicate. That's what I'm really looking for. And it's fine if you really want to do all the world's a stage and you think you've got an original approach to it, go for it. We don't eliminate people for choosing trite metaphors, but as simple human beings that are reading 100 essays a day, I think you want those people reviewing it to be really interested in your work. So do something original.
Yeah, I certainly do have that kind of, aw shucks moment when there's another one that comes across. So it can certainly help. Lily actually just asked a question that I was going to mention anyway, which is, yeah, you can certainly make up a metaphor if you'd like to. We've had some folks do that successfully as well. My, rule of thumb with any essay that you're submitting is, as long as the reader can understand what you mean and you're, explaining it well and talking about it thoroughly, you can go whatever direction you want, existing or one that you make yourself, certainly. So relatedly, John, then, overall, what are we looking for to ask students to join the honors program? We can talk some of the more numbers-based requirements, but once it gets to your point, you're kind of looking at the overall picture. What are you looking for to say, like, yes, I think this student could be successful in the honors program?
I'm really looking for, to be frank, some sophisticated insight into how the world works, or how relationships work, and attitudes about that guide you on living your life, or that you aspire to, or you've seen other people demonstrate that and you admire it. Just anything that makes it clear that you're a thoughtful person. Yeah.
Yeah, and someone did astutely notice that we, on our website, kind of have a list of broad traits that we're looking for the honors program and no numbers. That's on purpose, in large part. There are certainly, when we're having to make decisions, the academic threshold is certainly strong that students ultimately get to. But we also don't want it to be based solely on that academic piece, which is why we aren't saying that there's a particular either cutoff or set of GPAs or test scores that we're looking for. So I would say, if you have a stronger academic profile overall, have been successful in your classes over time, have pursued rigorous classes as they are offered at your school, we are certainly looking for that, but I wouldn't get too caught up in that, because we are really looking to have a wide variety of students join us in the honors program. For context, in our overall admitted student pool for like the whole college, usually we're somewhere around like a 3.7 unweighted GPA. So I would say thereabouts and higher is not a bad start for where we're looking for the honors program, if you want a general idea. But that's not to say that if you have a 3.6 that you shouldn't apply. You certainly should if you are interested in the program. Spend some time on your essay and put your best foot forward that way. A couple more questions kind of on this line, because I do want to get back to our students. How many students are accepted to the honors program? So ultimately, I think you probably mentioned this, John, the program is 50 students total each year, 50. To get to that number, we have to admit a few more because we have some folks say no, but it is certainly a competitive process. So, just keep that in mind. I don't have an overall number that we admit, but it is a very small program. Couple more things here. Impact of financial aid. So there is a scholarship attached to the honors program. It's called the Trustees Scholarship. Right now, it's about $30,000 per year. So as long as you stay in the honors program and maintain certain GPA, it's usually around, I think, a 3.3 in the honors program. Then you would maintain that scholarship. Absolutely. Couple more admission ones here. I did want to point out, as someone did ask about some of our global programs. So the honors program is only available to students who are going to be primarily studying in Boston. So our global BFA in film or global BA programs through Franklin University would not be eligible for the honors program because you do have to be Boston based for the majority of your time.
You could still spend a semester in those programs taking courses, but you have to be primarily in Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there is a question about, if you aren't admitted to the honors program, you can absolutely still be admitted to the college. Those are two separate decisions for us. Okay, so back to Natalie and Owen. Can you talk about how the honors program has helped you grow and change, both as a student and as, budding professionals?
Yeah. Now that I'm at the end of my college journey, I can really look back and see how it has changed me. When I went into the honors program, I was pretty timid and shy, and it was like the heat of COVID-19, and it was hard to make connections, but I was certain to put myself out there and to just talk. Even if I was unsure of what I was saying, just to talk with my classmates and engage in a healthy discussion. I can say that by forcing myself into those uncomfortable places, I became comfortable with like connecting with my classmates. And I think honors is the perfect place to do that. It's very nurturing and people respect you, of course, but like people really want to listen to what you have to say. And that is just the best feeling. You're learning so much. And as I said before, like you start to really think about the world. You start to think about your personal beliefs, your personal perspectives, others' personal perspectives. It really just opens up your world. I've learned about social justice, climate justice, psychoanalytics. It goes on. There's just so many things. And yeah, I have also learned to become a better writer, and I think through honors, I realized I really wanted to incorporate writing into my career in the future, especially like academic writing. And another thing I'll say is a lot of people in general, when they go into an esteemed program like the honors program at Emerson, might feel like they have a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like maybe they don't belong, maybe they're an outlier. I just want to confirm that if any of you are feeling uneasy about applying or getting into the program, do not worry about it. You belong. You are here for a reason, and it is honestly the best feeling to find these people who are so like-minded and here for you and want to hear what you have to say. You're just going to fit right in, and yeah.
Yeah, I actually had a bit of a similar experience. As I mentioned earlier, I kind of applied to the honors program as just on a whim. Didn't really think I would get in at all. And I was definitely very shocked when I was, one of 50 or so people that got in for my class. So if it can happen to me, it can definitely happen to you. But I'm just really glad that looking back, took that time to just write that essay, put it all out there, because being in the honors program has been such a positive experience. And I'm still in the middle of it right now, so I don't really have the hindsight that maybe Natalie does. But even just so far, it has been very fundamental in changing the way I view the world. And we read so much in that class. You will read so many great texts, so many introduced to so many important concepts that I'd never learned about before, different perspectives and different worldviews. So it definitely made me feel like a more well-rounded person, being in the honor seminars and the classes and learning about such a wide variety of topics. Um, and yeah, ultimately it's just been about community. And I also came into the honors program very shy. I was never the type to talk in class, but through honors seminar for freshman year, I kind of learned to become more comfortable being around the same people and being in such like a supportive environment, and kind of coming out of my shell a little bit more. So the honors program is just a really great place to flourish and meet like-minded people, and just, you know, I highly recommend applying even if you don't think you're going to get in. So definitely has changed me so far.
Awesome. Thank you. So one last question to round us out, coincidentally asked by two people at the same time, so it must be on the brain. Jon, can you talk about the limited opportunity if folks aren't admitted initially to the honors program during the admission process? What is the opportunity to apply later?
Yeah, thanks. So we do try to admit 50 students in their freshman year, right? But as Adriana said, something sometimes happens and somebody isn't able to show up, so we may only get 49. And during that freshman year, students may decide that Emerson's not for them or Boston's not for them. So it's not uncommon that a couple of students will transfer to a different school in their freshman year. So that means we have a handful of scholarships without students. And so we've taken advantage of that situation by admitting a limited number. So it's usually no more than 5 students in their second year. So that opportunity is also super competitive. So because we end up getting dozens and dozens of applications for those slots from Emerson students. So yes, in your freshman year, if you didn't make it into the honors program, you'll have another opportunity in the spring to apply to join in your sophomore year.
Absolutely. All right. So to wrap us up, kind of quick lightning round question. Could you each just give kind of one final piece of advice to the students who are listening tonight, who are largely in the midst of their application processes, getting ready to hit submit on some of those things? What piece of advice would you have as it relates to, considering the honors program?
This is gonna sound cliche, but I really mean it. Be fearless. Like, don't be afraid to propose your own metaphor. Don't be afraid to start your essay with a captivating hook. Be yourself. I think that's huge. Just be you. You have your own specific tone and your own specific personality. And at Emerson in general, I feel like we just really let that shine and we highlight that part about ourselves. Don't hide it. It's so important to be authentic in your essay because yeah, you're awesome. And I think that will get you super far in the honors program at Emerson in general. Just be yourself, be unique. It's easier said than done, but explore what you like. Think about your passions. Why are you studying? What do you do in your free time? And maybe use those hobbies, those passions in your essay. And don't look back. Once it's submitted, it's done. I had many moments where I was just like, oh, did I spell everything correct? Just let it go. You've got a lot on your plate right now. What happens happens, what doesn't is in the past. So yeah, just do the best you can. That's all anyone can ask for.
Yeah, just to mirror that a little bit, I also have one final thing I'll say about the essay in terms of advice. Definitely work very hard on the essay, but I would say do not overthink it because, as Natalie was saying, it does sound cliche, but the essay should be a reflection of you, and make sure to be yourself and really put your whole self into it. as we mentioned earlier, like I really do not recommend just typing what metaphor is the most common into Google and then doing something on that. Do something that's personal to you, do something that you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about it, then that passion is going to kind of show in your essay. And I think that's going to be the most beneficial for actually getting into the program. Um, the essay also does not have to be on something like super um, crazy deep at first, like one of my friends actually wrote her honors essay on um, the metaphor of fire in the reality television show Survivor. And she got into the honors program. So it's like you don't have to write about like something groundbreaking. It's about, in terms of your topic of what metaphor you pick, it's more just about how it's actually written and if you're, showing who you are in your essay. So definitely don't get too hung up on which metaphor should I pick. And make sure to just showcase your best writing and your best critical thinking skills and your best analysis skills. And the rest is going to be meant to be. So, yeah.
And I think I'd only add, thank you both for that. I think I would only add that it's useful to avoid generalizations, like saying all people are like this, or people should do this or behave this way. It's better to focus on yourself, I think. Tell us about you, what you think, what you aspire to. And yeah, it doesn't have to be a super profound or academic metaphor at all. My daughter's in the same place all of you are, or most of you are at. She's a high school senior. She's 17. She's applying to colleges. She's not going to be able to get into an honors program, but she's thinking about these same things that many of you are. And she is, and so there I'm doing a generalization, right? Then she's doing her essay on she loves to cook. So she's incorporating how that fits with her thinking and her aspirations. So it doesn't, and I'm the director of an honors program, and I've read a bunch of essays, and I think, yeah, that's a great idea. Go ahead and go for that. So it doesn't have to be super, profound or academic. Just tell us about yourself, as Owen and Natalie were saying.
And I'll just chime in with a bit of overall advice, and I'll kind of really turn this on its head and use a metaphor, which I've been using this season, which is, anyone who's knows sports or likes sports knows that, the beginning part is one bit of it, but the follow through is really everything. So just follow through on your processes, make sure you're checking your email after you submit things, keeping up with your checklists, editing the essay, once or twice before you submit it. All of those, little extra steps are really important. And then on the flip side, also give yourself some grace, give yourself some time off, take a break when you need it. This process is already stressful. So, make sure you're taking care of you as well, while still, you can do that while being diligent about the process as well. Wonderful. So I'm going to post just a couple links in the chat for folks who would like to engage with us further. So in addition to being able to reach out to Jon, as he posted earlier, you can also reach out to your admission counselor. We'd certainly encourage you to do that. So we're all separated by geographic region. So feel free to look us up based on where your school is located, and you can reach right out to us with questions. And we're happy to liaise with Jon if needed on the honors program. And then you can also sign up for future webinars. So all of them will always be listed on that page while you're still a prospective student. So anything we have coming up will be listed there. We would love to have you join us so that we can talk about more things Emerson as you're finishing up your applications. So thank you all so much for joining us. Keep an eye on those emails in about a week for this recording. And we will hope to see you at the next one. Thank you, everybody.